This is ContactTalkRadio.com. Consciousness in action. And you are taking action into your consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Ping.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Welcome to Spiritual Psychic with Sara Wiseman, where you'll learn how to unlock the secrets of spiritual intuition and your own psychic gifts. Here's Sara.
Welcome everyone to Visionary Psychics. I'm Sara Wiseman, and we are here today with SHIRLEY Mayatan, who is in Malaysia at the moment, and she's one of our visionary psychics who's been so diligently working through the program and really with her own very profound gifts. And so we're just so happy to have her with us today. Welcome, SHIRLEY.
Thank you, Sara. And it's such a pleasure for you to invite us.
Yeah.
Pleasure and an honor. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, it's an honor. You know, sometimes people who are sensitive or intuitive or healers and so forth, you know, there's this feeling that we're alone in the world. And as we gather in this way, you know, just the fact that you and I know each other or we know others, it just helps so much with this feeling of not being quite so misplaced in a dominant linear dominant world, sort of. Yeah.
And also, I think it was hard not having somebody to even talk to, just talk to about what we're going through that is very different from the materialistic world. There's nothing wrong with the materialistic world. Whatever we're discussing here is not about judging or comparing. It is just saying that we have also this other side, which some may say it's spiritual, some may say it's a soul journey, whatever we want to call it. But it's hard when we don't have a community, a tribe, or a soul family to support us and to even just talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and there is this soul family interested in the things that we are interested in, but they may not be in our town. Or in our country, or probably in our country they are, but they may not be proximate. And so it's really a blessing to have. I mean, surely technology. You and I would have never met if it hadn't been for internet. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Tell me about, you've just spent a lot of the pandemic, you guys went into a very strict lockdown, maybe more strict than most of us. How did that, and you and I have talked a bit about this, but how did that affect your spiritual journey? Like, what do you think the purpose of that was now that you're sort of moving to the outskirts of that?
I think if the lockdown, but certain things happened to me on a personal side, family side, before the lockdown, which was a prelude to the lockdown. So once the lockdown happened, I think I was just glad we don't have to go anywhere because so much drama, so much problems or challenges. Let's not call them problems. Let's call them challenges that came up. And it was just a huge relief to say, oh gosh, just stay put. No need to, go anywhere. But then when the lockdown happened, after everything has settled, sunk in, then I realized I couldn't escape. Like normally I'd be traveling everywhere, trying to get myself really busy doing this and that in different cities or countries, and trying to be someone who is contributing, in some form or another, but never really found what is it that I really wanted to do. So the lockdown forced me to just go into a very, very long retreat.
Yeah.
A deep, personal, immersive retreat, which was good, which was very good. Yeah.
It's feeling like it wouldn't have happened if it weren't. I mean, I guess you could have decided, 2021 personal retreat the whole year.
I don't think so. Not full year. I think maximum, I'll probably say 1 week, and then it will be superficial.
Yes.
It will be again superficial, because when I look back, I realized, it was all these so-called retreats or escapades. It was more like escapism.
Yeah.
It was all very superficial for me. I'm not talking about others, but for me, it was very superficial. So this lockdown, going into 2 years, it was very heavy, unavoidable. There's no escape. You can't run, no hiding, no excuse. So just have to face it.
So where are some places that you visited? So I know for me here back in 2020, the first thing I faced, which maybe it was real and maybe it wasn't, I don't know, but for me, it was the thing that I faced is I faced all this fear around illness and death, which I'd sort of been through before, but not just possible death of me, but possible death of, family members and so forth from COVID, which it was fear, and it was also looking at mortality right in the face. At least that's what it appeared to be back in 2021. And that really helped me look at, in this time we have left, what are we doing with it? So that was one piece that came for me. What are some of I know that you went really deep into channeling world and in guide contact and really opened up a lot of that realm. What do you think happened for you?
So as I mentioned, before the lockdown, before the real COVID lockdown happened, a lot of other stuff at the family personal side. So I had a sister who went into coma, and I had, so similar to yours, but it happened before the lockdown. It was very bizarre. They were on a holiday, and she just hurt her foot, pricked on something on the beach, and then the next thing she was so ill, she was in ICU. Wow. We had to medically evacuate her from that island, and then she went into a coma.
Wow.
And she lost her baby because she was also pregnant.
Oh my
They had no choice because they had to use a lot of very aggressive medication. It just went from 1 month to another, and at one point we thought, okay, we're gonna lose this family member, especially after she lost the baby. And it was very miraculous that she came back, and now she even gave birth to a new baby. And she just turned, this baby turned 1 year old just in October. Yeah. So it's crazy. It's crazy how it led up to that. And then also after my sister's thingy, then my daughter wanted to really kill herself.
Yeah.
And she attempted that, and had to call in the fire brigade to break in all that, take her to call the ambulance, take her to the hospital, and it was just madness, one after another. So when the lockdown happened, it was just so good to be staying put in one place with nothing happening.
Well,
and I think, let me answer your question if you don't mind.
Yes, go ahead.
So I think what happened is that I realized, yes, the mortality part did not really matter to me, whether we live long or short. See, long or short never really mattered to me in the first place, because it's not about the time, it's about the quality of life. So and I was at a point when the lockdown happened, because so much happened way before my sister's drama and then my daughter. I was so drained that I was almost at a point of saying, I don't care. You want to take my life, just end it. Just end it. Because ending it at that time, and I would imagine that's how people feel when they have reached the end of hope and everything, and they just want to end the pain, the suffering, or the exhaustion, or this sheer excruciating experience on earth. So I was there, and I realized nothing worked. Not the medicine, the psychiatrist, the treatments, whatever. All these things did not work. Whether we had money or no money, everything just, it didn't make any difference.
Right.
So at that point, I was just like, yeah, just end it. Give me COVID, whatever.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
No, to that point.
But that's where you were. That's where you
That's
were.
where I were. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to live in this world. Yeah, it was like that. It was so exhausted from this human experience, just completely drained out. So, and that's when I started to search for other ways to help support my daughter, because the meds and the other methods were not working.
Right.
So that's when I started actively looking, even though I was still wishing for my time to end.
Right.
Yeah. So, and that's where I found you. I found other courses, from Daily Om to other healers and teachers and mentors, and different methods of healing. Yeah.
You and I have talked that you went very deeply in with your guides, or you go very deeply in with your guides, and receive a lot of information in channeling. And I just wonder if you could talk about that for a minute. How that has, I guess I'm always surprised when the channeling arrives. It just feels, I don't know, like, how can this be? And yet all this information comes through. What is that like for you, especially in having this deep, longer retreat, of having this connection? What is that like for you to be in touch with those guides?
In the beginning, I thought I had officially gone insane.
Yeah.
I was just gone mad and hallucinating, or just couldn't, my mind has just cracked.
Right. That's the first step. That's always the first step.
Yeah. I said,
it's like, what's
I've
happening?
officially lost it.
Yeah.
I'm gone. People said I'm crazy, but now it's certified. So, and yet a lot of how do I explain this? That it's a very funny sensation where in the past, even when people tell us things or we know things, it has a different feeling. That's
Yeah.
And yet when I connect with the guides or whatever downloads or information I receive, it clicked. It had
Yeah.
this feeling, a very strong, innate feeling of resonance, um, of truth being echoed or triggered. That's the best I could say.
Yeah, as if this is the, well, my feeling is this is the truth I've been seeking forever. And
Yeah.
that was what my feeling is when I'm connected and then channeling in writing, especially, and the words come out. And I've seen what you've channeled, some of it, and we have this sense, at least for me, that certainly me as a personality can't produce this level of understanding. And yet when we just let ourselves become the conduit or the tube, sometimes we use those words, and it just flows through, and there it is. And it's kind of an astonishing.
Yeah.
And did you feel like, I always feel when I am doing that practice of channeling and writing, every piece of me is healed as the information comes through. Like as I receive it, it's like layered on me or layered through me. I experience the meaning as it comes through. Is that something that happens for you also?
Yes, especially for certain very deep wounds that I could never resolve or find an answer that could really, healing is taken into a very superficial sense these days, but it doesn't remedy anything inside, nothing shifts. But somehow with these deep meditation or channeling and downloads and what they reveal about me has an amazing effect.
Yeah.
And that is so profound that it takes away that sense of void, or even that sense of pain that you couldn't describe and you don't know where it came from, especially if it's not related to this life,
Yeah.
So that was bizarre. That was very unbelievable for me, because there's no way I could explain it. It's so intangible, and people will say you're crazy. So it did do that kind of healing, very deep.
I think people give this work, working in other dimensions, working in the other realms. If you come from a linear view, you just see the apple in front of you. When you're looking in all these dimensions, you can see the past life apple, the future life apple, the apple with the guides. You see across a whole lot more realms or dimensions. And so I can see, if you haven't ever seen that way or felt that way, it can be really confusing to even listen to what we're talking about, unless you.
It
But
was
then
crazy.
the universe starts to kind of open people up by their dreams or their synchronistic events. Just like recently, and sometimes it's very small things. People talk about repeating numbers, and the last 2 days as I've been out, because we are free to be out, all I've seen is repeating numbers. Like every time I see numbers, the last 2 days, they've been in repeats of 2 or 3. And So to me, that's a sign of this kind of magic or synchronicity or connection. Like some things, I don't know what that means, but I'm at that place of the universe is catching my attention. The repeating numbers act as a disruptor. It's catching my attention, inviting me to pay attention to those other realms. And so I'm just like, okay, I'm paying attention. What would you like me to understand? And hopefully that will become clear. Let's see. Yeah, go ahead.
This aspect became more evident for me after going through your course about synchronicities, noticing strands. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because previously where I was really just oblivious, not paying attention. Because in the past, I thought you had to go into meditation and then connect. And then as I learn more and more through your course and through your coaching with you one-on-one, you always talk about you're always connected. You always say that we're always connected because it's all around us. Yeah. And so it's just tuning in, and it takes practice.
Right.
So once I make an effort to tune in and practice more, then I notice more.
Yes.
And it becomes interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent.
And it makes sense. Funny enough, there is nothing, my experience is that even with you, learning with you, from you, the spiritual realm, this journey, this whole experience, the process, there's nothing hocus pocus or fluffy. Everything makes sense. And it's very practical. I don't see the fluffy hocus pocus part. Yeah.
It's like learning another way to work with the universe outside of the linear. The linear is a method, but for those of us who don't resonate with that, there is a whole other way.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, Shirley, I think our time is up at this time.
Yes.
I want to thank you so much for joining us. And I'll put your information, if people want to contact Shirley and the work that she does, I have that down below in the writing. Thank you. Anyway, thank you, Shirley. Thank you so kindly.
Thank you. Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.